Hey there, today I have a comic book pressing video where I show you how I took this book, Fantastic Four 247, and bumped it up from a 9.4 to... Stay tuned. Alright, so I find like with these videos I'm talking too much about the book. I want to get right to the clips. And again, I'm trying to fine tune a process where I put a book inside a humidity tank. I'm looking at the relative humidity, I'm looking at the time spent in the tank, and then press it. And the book that I worked on over the last couple of days is Fantastic Four 247, which if you saw in a recent unboxing video, this is a book that I ordered, and I really felt like the only thing wrong with it was a spine curl, just like a creased curl, but looked great. There were two tiny spine ticks, and I have books behind me with spine ticks that are 9.8. And I really felt like, boy, if I could get rid of that curl, this book is a 9.8. And the GPA on this book is somewhere between $200 or $300 for a 9.8. So it was worth it to me to try and figure out how to really take this great, fantastic John Byrne, Doctor Doom cover Fantastic Four book. Again, this is a non-key. It's not a significant book other than the fact that the cover is amazing. And just great copper age. I guess this is the tail end of bronze again. But just Byrne Fantastic Four, you just can't go wrong, especially with Doctor Doom on the front. So this was a book that I put through the humidity treatment. I point out the defects in these clips so you can kind of see end to end. I'm cutting out some of the particulars around pressing. Once I get really, really good at this and refine the process, I'll share more details. But for now, here are the clips on the process. Enjoy. Hey there, back again with another pressing video. In this video, I'm going to try and move this book from a 9.6 to a 9.8. And this particular book, I believe, really only has two issues. It has a spine curl on the left side and one, I would say, noticeable spine tick, but it's in the white area. So I don't see it in terms of color breaking or anything like that. So let me open this book and show you real quick what those two troubled spots are. And then I'm going to put this in the humidity tank and let it relax and show you what the relative humidity is and do a bit more calculation and measuring for this particular pressing exercise so that I can be more precise going forward. So let's take a look at the book. All right, so this shouldn't take too long. I've already graded and screened this book. The two issues that I see, and this is going to be tough right here because it is in the white, but right there is what I think is the probably real only spine issue. And again, it's very subtle, but you can kind of see in the light how it kind of goes up and down there. And it's right near the top staple area. Not quite the top staple, but anyway, there's that. And then it's just a general spine curling, which again, tough to see in the light there, but right there you can kind of pick it up right above the box there. So right there is kind of where you see. And this goes all the way up. So, you know, it's not a subtle spine curl by any means. And I don't believe that there needs to be a lot done to this book. Otherwise, it's very, very nice. I have graded this as a 9.6. I really think the book is in strong shape. And this book at a 9.6 has a very nice high GPA value. You can see here that I didn't see really any issues at all otherwise. Little bit of a color rub ink area right there. That was it. That's just some cat hair, unfortunately. Yeah, let's try and get the light in on the spine. But yeah, really, really, really great looking book there from this angle. Nothing. Looks great. So this book is going to go into the humidity tank and it is going to sit in there until my hygrometer reads at over 90%. So the last book I did, The Vision and Scarlet Witch #1, it was about 86% to start. But I've noticed that with the distilled water inside, just at room temperature, I can get the relative humidity pretty high, up to almost 100%. So we're going to let this book just take a nice, relaxed, long bath in the tank, and then we're going to take it out and see if it was relaxed enough where I can get that spine curl completely out and flat. Hey there, so we're back. This has remained in this humidity chamber for probably 24 hours. And you can see the relative humidity measurement here from the Govee app, and definitely, hopefully see, I should say, on the side there. Condensation, humidity around 96, 97% for a steady 24 hours in this book. So the difference here as I open the tank is that I decided to leave the book in the tank for a full 24 hours instead of 6 to 8 hours or overnight. And when I say overnight, it was probably closer, again, to that 6 to 8 hour range. So I'm going to open the tank here and see what kind of state this book is in. So there's my hygrometer. I got this real cheap off Amazon, and it works pretty well, I've found, connecting to my phone. I don't know why I put that on there. I just did. So let's see what we got here. I'm going to take off these window screens that I use, again, just to trap any droplets, any large droplets, because I don't want them on the book. And kind of funny, too, that the ad here right in the middle of the book is from Mile High Comics. All right, so at first glance, before I pick it up, you can kind of see I'm getting distracted by the catalog, trying to look at the prices. You can see the waviness of the pages a little bit there. So definitely some good things happening. Go ahead and open this up. And I definitely feel the book has had the humidity applied. This book in particular had a pretty nasty, well, I take it back. It wasn't super nasty, but it was definitely a spine curl up and down here, where I'm like, man, this book is a 9.8 all day if it wasn't for that spine curl. So that's one of the reasons, get out of the shadow here, it's one of the reasons I wanted to try out and perfect the humidity treatment. And there was one, I'm heating up my press here, let me turn that off. There was one spine tick here too. Yeah, right there. Now, what was interesting about that spine tick, if you can see it right in there, is that it also had a little bit of a dent going with it, but that was really the only issue. So there's that one little color break. Now picture that in a CGC slab. That's going to be an eyesore, right? But I still feel like this book can get the 9.8. So I want to press this out as is, but I'm very happy with how this turned out. Now, I didn't add any boiling distilled water. It was just the distilled water I had in the tank, and I've used this distilled water now for maybe 3 straight humidity tests. So it's probably time to change the water, and that'll be another experiment. But so for this experiment, I would say the relative humidity was between 96 and 97%, left in here for 24 hours. And I closed the lid. People say put something heavy on top of the lid to make sure no humidity escapes. But again, I don't know if that's really a problem that I have, because now that I have the hygrometer measuring the humidity, I can tell if humidity is escaping. But I did put, I put my order of Scout comics that I just received. So a nice, pretty heavy stack of 10 or 12 comics, like a comic brick, and I just laid it on top. So let me get this book prepared for the press, because this baby's going in, and it's going to sit overnight in the cold press, and then we're going to take this one out in the morning. And I have a good feeling that unless I forget the plate or do something weird, this is going to come out nice and crispy. So a big improvement here with the humidity tank. And we're going to load up Doctor Doom and Fantastic Four 247 into the press, and I will see you after the book comes out of the press. All right, here we go. So this book has been in the cold press for, gosh, it's probably coming up on 24 hours now. So this stayed overnight, and for most of the day, it's early afternoon here. My concern is that I didn't actually press it for 15 minutes. So I think what I did was I set the preheat temperature to 160 degrees, and then I opened the press and it kind of cooled off, and I put the book in there, and then maybe after a few minutes, it reached that 160 degrees, started beeping, and I forgot that it wasn't the timer. I think, I'm not sure, but I want to open this up and take a look and see. So I feel like the worst case, it's going to look basically the same or a little wrinkly, and I may have to press it again. So let's take a look and see. But at least I did it right this time. I've got my my plate on the top that I'll take off. But really, this book in particular, I'm just trying to get that spine curl out. So if this did the trick, then it did the trick, and it's all good. But this was the post-humidity bath press of Fantastic Four 247. And move the used materials. I have a little pile here of stuff I gotta get rid of. So let's take a look at this book. And definitely the spine curl is out. So whatever that was. And so maybe I did press it for the full amount. But look at the cover as I move the light back and forth. No waves at all whatsoever. Really, really crispy, nice up and down here. So let me just take a second and get this out of the sandwich, and I'll move it to an area where we can inspect it just a little bit closely and also take a look at the back. Okay, so here's the book out of the sandwich, and let's take a look. So the big thing for me, again, kind of hard to show on video, but as I move the light here against the spine, there's no curl there. See, if you can kind of follow that overhead light, it kind of goes against it. There's nothing there that I can see. Now, the only thing I will notice, it definitely has that sort of pressed line again, which I'm like, ugh, it's just right there. You can almost see as the light bounces where it's just sort of kind of coming up and over just slightly there. But boy, really looks clean otherwise, and I wonder if that will just sort of relax on its own. This is something that I've just wondered about. Am I seeing something there that's not there? Just how dramatic or drastic is that? Because I feel like the light should just give a nice reflection all the way across, but you see how it kind of stops right there. So that's what and yes, Dr. Doom, yes, I see you. I don't know. It really looks good. There was one spine tick here. Let's see if I can get it right there. And that's really it. It sort of blends in right with the art, but that's the only spine tick I see. Corners on this are really sharp. I'm going to turn the book over, and we'll look at this spine too. Looks gorgeous. Looks really good. I'm not seeing any issues at all, except for just sort of that sort of fine line where I've seen a technique with this where if you get this line, you see what I'm talking about right here, right up and down, just not quite on the spine itself, just about, well, on video it looks larger, but the gap is just maybe just about a quarter of an inch away from the spine. There's a line now, and I think that's where the paper was. So I've seen a technique where you actually don't put anything except the magazine backing board in the middle, and you turn the press on, fire it up to 160 or 165 degrees, and then you put the book in the press completely, and then you close it and turn the press off. So you're just kind of like giving it a little bit of a, almost like a microwave. You're just giving it a little bit of a quick heat up and then just let it relax. So I may try that, I may not. I may just see how this goes. I did notice one other spine tick right there, but really, really tiny. And I've been looking at some other books I have. Yeah, and they too have a couple of spine ticks that are color breaking, so I'm not trying to be overly dramatic with this book. I think it's good to go to CGC as is. I would love to see without, I mean, I need something to experiment with. I feel like if I'm not scrutinizing the spine or overly scrutinizing the spine in terms of whatever that is, that indent of basically pressing the book with too much pressure, then I think it's good to go as a 9.8. Otherwise, potentially 9.6, I'm not sure. But I'm tempted just to send this book in. It was it's a low risk, extremely high reward type of investment. I got this book really cheap. It happened to be in the 9.4 to 9.8 range. So what do you think? Send it in as is. Try and press out the sides one more time. Or stop doing these videos altogether. I'd love your feedback. Let me know what you think. And let's see if we can turn a 9.4 or a 9.6 into a 9.8. And the good news is I think the humidity bath is working, and I have a process, and I'm going to keep kind of a rotation of one book in the bath for 24 hours, and then a book in the press cooling off for 24 hours, and just keep rinsing and repeating. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Happy collecting, and see you next time.